End Times and the Secret of the Mahdi. Part 1. The Revelation of Jesus Christ. A message from Jesus about Jesus. The front page of the New York Times recently carried the headline, ISIS transforming into functioning state that uses terror as tool. ISIS is the terror group known as the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, in Arabic Ad-Dawla al-Islamiyya fi Trawash Sham. When ISIS was formed in 2006, the world took no notice. But by 2015, the Salafi jihadist group controlled large regions of Iraq and Syria, plus parts of Nigeria, Libya, and Southeast Asia, and 10 million people lived under ISIS rule. The group proclaimed itself a global caliphate. Its motto, Baqiya wa Tatamadad, meaning remaining and expanding, and it is living up to those words. The New York Times explains, the Islamic State uses terror to force obedience and frighten enemies. It has seized territory, destroyed antiquities, slaughtered minorities, forced women into sexual slavery, and turned children into killers. It initially functioned solely as a terrorist organization, if one more cold-blooded even than Al-Qaeda. Then it went on to seize land. But increasingly, as it holds that territory and builds a capacity to govern, the group is transforming into a functioning state that uses extreme violence, terror, as a tool. ISIS has become a functioning totalitarian government. It issues identification cards, makes and enforces laws, and even provides services like garbage collection. The Islamic State regime is brutal, but provides stability. Many who live under ISIS control welcome the stability of oppression. One Syrian living under ISIS said, "They are implementing Allah's regulations. The killer is killed. The adulterer is stoned. The thief's hands are cut off." Reporter Tim Arango notes that many people think ISIS will collapse under the weight of its own brutality, assuming that its evil ensures its eventual destruction. But all signs suggest that ISIS is remaining and expanding and attracting new recruits. Arango quotes John E. McLaughlin, a former deputy director of the CIA. "These guys could win. Evil isn't always defeated." A few short years ago, hardly anyone in the West had heard of ISIS. Today, the ISIS reign of terror crosses national borders, enforcing its rule with beheadings and mass slaughter, posted on the internet for the world to see. Now consider this. It's easy to imagine the coming world leader known as the Antichrist enforcing his rule in much the same way. I'm not saying that ISIS is the precursor to the Antichrist, but as we look at the scenes of horror and atrocity coming out of the Middle East and the mass slaughter of the November 2015 ISIS attacks in Paris, it is impossible not to compare those scenes with the Antichrist's reign of terror, as described in Daniel, Revelation, and other prophetic passages of Scripture. Daniel tells us the Antichrist will exalt and magnify himself above every god, and will say unheard of things against the God of gods. He will be successful until the time of wrath is completed, for what has been determined must take place. There will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until then. Daniel 11:36-12:1. The book of Revelation tells us the Antichrist will be given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. Revelation 13:7. Is ISIS a foretaste of the Antichrist's future reign of terror? I can't answer that. I can only say that it's not hard to imagine the spreading horrors of our own time leading to the long prophesied regime of the Antichrist. Think for a moment of all the seemingly unsolvable problems of our time war, terrorism, the spread of nuclear weapons, economic uncertainty, the gap between rich and poor, food shortages and famine, pollution, climate change, severe weather events, plagues, racial and ethnic conflicts, religious conflicts, and on and on. Years ago, the world looked to freedom and democracy for solutions. Today, the world consensus is moving away from freedom as the solution and toward authoritarian control, one world government, and the concentration of power in a single authority, even a single human leader. The Bible calls that leader the Antichrist.